Today on the PIO podcast, I would like to welcome Lisa McDonald. She is the Public Information Officer for the city of Oviedo, Florida. Lisa, welcome to the show.
Thank you. It's actually Oviedo, Florida.
Oviedo. Okay, I appreciate you
Yeah.
saying that. So, yeah, excellent. I'm glad you corrected that because the last thing I want to do is say the name wrong. I had an interview last week. Somebody did that. Oh, I didn't want to correct you on the way you said my first name. I'm like, oh,
Well, it's funny. We have a Spanish sister city actually located in Spain, and their pronunciation is Oviedo. So
no. Oh,
it's
okay.
easy to get confused.
Yeah, okay. I get it. All right. All right, so Lisa, I'm going to jump right in these questions. So I appreciate you coming on and taking the time to do the interview. Let's talk about, you spent nearly 2 decades as a broadcast journalist before transitioning into this position. What inspired you to the shift?
You know, I worked in television for almost 19 years at two different local stations doing working in TV news as the assignment editor. And every day it was just a lot coming at you from every county, every city, from around Central Florida. I think it was just my time to move on. I'd work different shifts, and there's either mornings or evenings, and I just kind of wanted a sense of normalcy. My son was getting a little bit older, going into high school. So I was really looking to do something a little bit more Monday through Friday. I worked weekends when I worked in television news for the whole 19 years. And I just wanted to be able to spend weekends with him and weekends doing stuff. I never got to do anything on the weekends because everybody else was having fun, but I was
Right.
working. So I really just wanted to make that transition into public information.
And it's a natural progression. A lot of journalists move from the field to public relations or public information because it's similar. It's very similar to what you do with a little less stress.
It really is. When I was at the desk, you'd always see the interviews and get the press releases and always read them and understand how those press releases are written and understand the mannerisms of public information officers and communications people. So I was very closely watching, and I thought, moving from television into public information wouldn't be that big of a stretch as long as you're given that chance, and you can really implement a lot of things that you learn working in television and translating that into working for an agency, be it government or private agency.
Okay. So I want to ask a question. I should have asked this first. Where is the city of Oviedo located at?
Oviedo. So
Vito.
we are Central Florida. We're actually east of the city of Orlando. We're in a county called Seminole County, and we're about 40 minutes maybe from Cocoa Beach, 45 minutes from Daytona Beach. So we're in the eastern side of Central Florida.
Okay, I've done that ride before. I had family
Yeah.
lived in Cocoa Beach for a number of years, and I used to travel back and forth from Orlando to Tampa
Yeah.
doing different work. So yeah, I'm familiar with that. So how did your experience in television and radio shape your approach to how you do municipal communications now?
So, how I did it, I learned, like I said, watching public information officers, and it's a matter of being responsive to the media. And when I couldn't get responses, it was so frustrating for me working in television because at the assignment desk, you are the front line. They want the information, even if it's the basics. And not being able to get a hold of somebody, and even not even necessarily right away, but just trying and trying and trying to get a hold of somebody, not really getting an answer was really frustrating to me. So one of the things that I said to myself that I would do if I became a communicator or public information officer is just be mindful of the media, and they do have deadlines, and I wanted to be that responsive public information officer. And to this day I still want to be that responsive public information officer. I don't want to be that person that disappears, so that was a main thing that translated well for me going into public information. And then also writing social media, writing for the website for TV news, that translates well as well because you get those writing skills. And social media is social media. There's different ways to write for different social media platforms, but in the end, I know what kind of excites people and really people can understand what they're going to understand on social media. So it really translated well writing wise too.
Excellent. So, what were some of the biggest surprises you had moving from the newsroom deadlines to government messaging?
Time works differently in government, that's for sure. From a newsroom, you have strict deadlines working in the newsroom. Everything is urgent, urgent, urgent. In government, it's not that way. You can take your time, you can breathe, you can think about things. Today, I was just trying to come up with a map for something for a parade, and I'm like, this isn't working out. I'm going to come back around to this. I have time to figure it out. That's the other thing is you have time to develop messages. You have time to develop campaigns where in TV news, it's just now, 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 now. So the one thing I really had to learn, and I had another communicator tell me this is you have to decompress from television. It's not all about urgency, urgency, urgency and getting it out because you want to get that message right, not necessarily out right away. You want to make sure that that message is correct. And I really had to learn how to decompress coming out of television news into
You know,
communications for government.
there's a very interesting interview that Denzel Washington did where he was talking about fake news, and one of the things that he said was he said that the interest in being first versus being right is
Right.
changed the way a lot of news organizations work nowadays.
It has changed it, and you can definitely see it. Sometimes if a reporter reaches out, they may not reach out to me. They may go to another source, and I'll say, "Well, why didn't you come to me? I would have given you more information, or maybe correct information or better
Mhm.
information." So, yeah, you're right. It is that urgency, and I get it. It's competitive in TV news. It's who has the exclusive, who was on scene first. So you've definitely seen a shift from the old ways. Even from when I was in television, I've seen a shift from how things are broadcast, and it's interesting. It's interesting.
It's interesting and it's scary at the same time because now because everybody the attention spans of the public are so short now, and that little information that somebody's going to put out and they hear it on the news and it may not be accurate now because there's that push to get it first, and that unfortunately is what's kind of scary because the public will lock onto that truth or what they believe is a truth, and they won't ever go back and correct it.
Yeah, and there's also the citizen journalism. Everybody's got one of these and
Mhm.
everybody's out there. And I mean, a perfect example, especially with AI, is somebody was pushing out images from Jamaica from the hurricane and they weren't right. They weren't, it wasn't Jamaica. It wasn't even the same storm. So anybody can create anything at any given
Yeah.
time and call it facts.
Yeah, and going I think about I laugh back to when Hurricane Sandy hit New York and they had pictures of sharks swimming in Manhattan, and that wasn't true.
Yeah, so it's amazing that my thing is don't believe everything you see on social media, get it from the
Right.
correct sources, but that's just me.
Absolutely. Absolutely. So can we
Yeah.
talk about the communication strategy? What's unique about it compared to other cities where you've worked or what you've been involved in?
So Oviedo is unique. It's a really community family based. So another city where I worked, where I started out my career, was very tourism based. We wanted to get people in there to see the different businesses and to come in and see the sites and do the boat tours and things like that. So it's very tourism driven. Oviedo is very family driven. We are a lot of subdivisions where people want to live and they want to raise their families and they want their kids to go to school here because we have such great schools and such a great safety record. We are a really really safe city and we're all close knit. Our events are fantastic and they're all family oriented. So my messaging really has to be catered to family oriented living. People live in Oviedo, but they may work in downtown Orlando or they may work out at NASA. So and we're right next to UCF, University of Central Florida. So we have a big hub of technology right next door. And a lot of people have these technology jobs and they maybe go to school at UCF or they're a teacher at UCF or have something to do with UCF. So we have to cater our messaging around those particular items of interest for our community.
What's the population of the city?
Right now, we are at 42,000, just over 42,000, and we're expected to grow to about 48,000 over a number of years.
Okay, so
I think by 2030, it may be at about 48,000.
okay, not decent sized city. Okay,
Yeah.
so let's talk about tailoring a message to reflect Oviedo's brand and community identity. How do you deal with that?
So it's fun. It's funny because we got a lot of great family oriented programs, and we have a lot of sports programs. The city of Oviedo, we have our high school, Oviedo High School, and Haggerty High Schools, which Haggerty is actually in the county, but we count them as one of ours. We're very sports oriented. We have a baseball and football. We've got a lot of athletes that like world class athletes that come out of Oviedo. We have a lot of outdoor parks where people could go work out and walk around and take their families. We have a lot of green space. So the two things, it's a really fine line that I have to walk. It's old Oviedo versus new Oviedo. And when I talk about old Oviedo, we were a real rural community for a very long time, till about the 80s. And then someone came in and said, you know what, I'm going to build a development here, Alafaya Woods. And they built Alafaya Woods. It's a huge development. And everybody came into Oviedo, and it just snowballed and snowballed into what's called the new Oviedo. So development is still a touchy subject in Oviedo, I guess, as it is kind of everywhere, especially in Florida. There's just growth, immense amount of growth in the state of Florida. So we want to try to gear our messaging to kind of keep everybody on the same playing field. Not everybody is going to agree on development, but it's going to happen. You've got to be able to expand your tax base to help fund your programs and keep costs low. So it's really a fine line that you have to walk in Oviedo. I have people that compliment me on my communications and the messaging that I put out. I don't just do, a picture and a graphic, but I'll make videos and use photos and all kinds of things. And people love seeing themselves on social media, right? On a city page or any page. So everybody really
So
enjoys it.
let's talk about that. Can you share a recent campaign or initiative where it really resonated with the residents?
Yes, so I did a fun one, maybe about a year and a half ago. We've been using it for a while. So we have water conservation in Oviedo. Water is a big topic in Florida. We use the Floridan aquifer, and that's where our water comes from. And there's only so much to go around, right? So every city has water conservation. And our water conservation expert, Jay, I love him to death. He's the stocky guy, muscles, right? Muscles for days, loves wrestling. He's a big wrestling fan. He knows even the most obscure wrestlers. I don't know. So my assistant city manager said, "Hey, let's do a water conservation message, not just saying, okay, water your lawn Tuesday, Thursday, Saturdays, just a boring graphic." He said, "Let's do a fun video where we can really play on that personality of Jay." So me and Jay got together and we talked about it. And he's just got this booming personality. And we went on camera and he said, "This is Mr. Aquaman, and I'm going to tell you about water." And we did video clips of him, just talking about water conservation, and this is why we have to do it. But then he brought out that wrestling personality, and we did these quick clips of, "You're going to water on Saturdays, and this is the time, and don't make Mr. Aquaman come after you," kind of thing. It was really fun. And I found an AI program that turned his image into the superhero type image. So I put that in there and I called it Be a Water Warrior. And we still use it to this day. We, be our
Nice.
water warriors. Yeah, it's really, really fun.
Excellent. Excellent. And I'm sure that resonated very well with the residents. That kind of
People
stuff is always very good. Yeah.
Yeah, people really, really resonated with it. Sometimes people don't know how much water there, and a lot of times, when am I supposed to water my lawn again? Because we have reclaimed water, we have potable water. You don't want to use the potable water, but reclaimed water you can, and it could be quite confusing. So it
Yeah,
was
I'm
just a
sure.
really fun, yeah. And I just posted it today, as a matter of fact. So
Very nice. All right. So
yeah,
you're a certified advanced PIO, right?
yes, I just
How
got
is
that in January.
excellent. How has that training influenced your crisis response planning?
So the one thing that we learned is dealing with other people in other agencies when there is a mass casualty or a large situation that's happening. It was very fast paced. We had just crisis after crisis after crisis coming at us, at everyone, all day for like 4 days straight. So it was really good to be able to hone those skills when you're learning how all these crises are happening all at once, because you may have a crisis and then something else pops up over here that intervenes in that crisis. And it was really great to just be able to look at different viewpoints, as well as meeting public information officers from around the country that do all different kinds of public information, be it Homeland Security, or be it police or fire or other cities or counties. It was really, really great to meet these people and talk about these situations and then work together as a team. That's the one thing. You got to use your communications wheel, right, to develop these messages. So it
Absolutely.
was great to learn this kind of teamwork in those kind of environments. It was crazy, but it was a great learning experience.
Excellent. So, what's your approach when managing messaging during a fast moving incident or an emergency?
So, as you know, in Florida here, we have hurricanes, and
No,
that's pretty.
no.
Yeah. We didn't have any this year, knock on wood, right? But
Yeah,
that doesn't mean we're never going to have them again. They're going to
that's
come.
right.
Yeah, and when I worked in television, I worked through everything. Tornadoes, that was one of my first insane experiences, was working through deadly tornadoes and brush fires, hostage situations, active shooters, hurricanes. And what my approach is, three key factors when it comes to my community. I want to know the health, the safety, and the welfare of the citizens in Oviedo, in my city. I try to find a starting point, a middle, and an end. And that's especially true with hurricanes, because the starting point is going to be your preparations, how to get people prepared, sandbags, water, make sure you've got batteries, be prepared in case something happens, get your flood insurance, because that's a big issue right now here. Our middle point would be during the storm. There's not a lot to talk about during the storm, but you can still get messages out there. Hey, 911 is open. We may not be able to respond right now, but we will get to you. And then the end, with when it comes to a hurricane, you're going to have debris cleanup. People are going to wonder when their power is coming back on. If there's flooding, how we can go and help during flooding situation, or rescues, things like that. So I try to have pre-organized messages as well. And that's not just for hurricanes. You can create pre-organized messages for anything. And then when the situation arises, make those changes, be it an active shooter, a tornado, a brush fire that's threatening homes, big situations, a sinkhole that's opened up in the middle of a major roadway. You can have those messages thought out in your brain and keep them in folders where they're ready to go. I watch other counties and other cities. What are they doing? How are they handling situations? We had a big incident in a city nearby, in another county next to us, and it was a big incident. So I watched and I helped that PIO. She contacted me and said, "Hey, what would you do in this situation?" And I watch the news. I do watch the news. I know people are like, I can't watch the news, but I watch the local news and I see what other counties and cities are doing when it comes to their situations and how they're handling it. How would I tailor my messaging to be for my particular city?
Right. So, what are some ways you've built trust with the Oviedo residents and through your communications efforts?
So I talk to people. If somebody reaches out to me on, say, social media, or they call here, I will talk to them and try to help them and get them what they need. I get a lot of messages on Facebook from people, just kind of stuff all over the place. Hey, this happened, or hey, can you check on this? Hey, I got this picture of this. Can you help me? And I'll try to get them to the right department. I'll take their message and I'll say, hey, can somebody please give them a call and let them know how to rectify, or how we can help them. Sometimes they'll approach me at city council meetings, because I always go to city council meetings. And if they give me advice and say, hey, you know what I'd like to see on social media? Maybe you could try this. And I'll try it. And if it works, it's great. And they're very appreciative of me listening to their needs and what they would like to see. So it's just a matter of listening and always smile. Don't go into a situation scowling like, "Oh, what do they want?" or go to an event. Always have a smile on your face. People want to see that. I work for the people, and that's what I want to do. I want to smile and let them know that I'm a friendly face. Even if I'm not the end game answer for them, I can at least get them to where they need to go.
Excellent. How do you handle misinformation or rumors in a small but digitally active community?
That is a really, really difficult question. I'm going to tell you because sometimes you have to let those rumors play themselves out and not be involved. We have
Hmm.
community groups that have their own pages and things will start, and we have a lot of ambassadors for the city, be it people who just lived here all their lives, people who love this city. We even have former elected officials that are in these groups, and they'll go in there and say, no, this is not how that works, this is how it works. So it's really nice to have those ambassadors. I try to let them play out. And then those rumors eventually they kind of go like this and then they go like this. And they just, peek out and then they disappear and we move on to other things. If the media reaches out to me, which has happened, media reach out, say, "Hey, somebody posted this on your face on a Facebook page, and I want to find out what is your side of the story." And I'll tell my side of the story or the city side of the story, and it'll squash the rumors. We've had this a few times. I'm happy to share an example if you'd like me to share an
Sure.
example of something.
Absolutely.
So the past couple of years, not 2025, but 2024, we had our July 4th celebration a few days after July 4th because it was on a weekend. It was on a Saturday. I think it was July 7th. And we had it out there, we're going to do fireworks and they're going to be on July 7th. Well, a media station picked that up and just thought that was the craziest thing ever. And, they went and talked to the mayor. They didn't talk to me at all, but, to get the city side of the story. But they were putting it out there and getting negativity, negative
Hmm.
interviews of, oh, it shouldn't be out. It's too late after the seventh. And, just kind of threw it out there. And I was just like, I'm gonna let it go because come July 7th, it's going to be a packed event and people are going to love it. And guess what? It was a packed event and people absolutely loved it. And I actually heard from a couple of people saying, yeah, that TV station was out here trying to get us to say something bad about the 4th of July or the fireworks. And then we couldn't say anything bad because it was just such a great event. And I watched
That's
their
crazy.
story. Yeah, I watched the story the next day and it was all positive, positive, positive. So, as much as sometimes negative stuff is out there, the positive stuff comes out on the other side. And I also battle it with trying to put out positive stories as much as possible, be it on through the regular media or be it on social media. So I just try to do really positive, happy things.
It's excellent. Awesome. Can we talk about transparency and how it plays in your day to day messaging?
It's everything. Transparency is everything working in government. You cannot hide things from the public. You have to be upfront with people. I don't know. I like to encourage our directors to just share everything with me, be it a road closure or something significant like utility rate hikes. And they're very good. Our directors and staff are really, really great at sharing messages with me. And I actually just recently went in and did a chat GPT search of City of Oviedo communications to see how I'm doing. And there's been a couple of dings on me, but otherwise, people that I believe are pretty happy with our communication. So everything's a learning curve, and everything is. I'm always going to learn from my mistakes, and every situation is different too. So there could be something like, oh well, I had this happen. Let me search and see if other people have had this happen, and it hasn't. So I just kind of play it by ear and ask for advice if I need it from someone.
Excellent. What digital platforms or tools have become essential in your workflow?
So I use our website, cityofovedo.net. We are sponsored or not sponsored. We are hosted by Civic Plus, which is a big one. It's a big government website.
Yeah, it's a
Um,
good
I
platform.
yeah, it's a really great platform. I do notifications through the website. I use Facebook a lot. A lot of our citizens are on Facebook and Nextdoor. That's a big one to get messaging out. I didn't really realize how big our Nextdoor account was, but we have a lot of followers on Nextdoor. I use X, but I mostly use that for media. We don't have Instagram, but I'm hoping we can get one soon. And I use newsletters, city newsletters.
Nice. I like Nextdoor for the fact that you can actually tailor it down to the neighborhood, which is kind of
Yeah,
nice.
it's really nice if you have water main breaks or road closures, things like
Right.
that.
Yeah, because the general public doesn't care, but if it's that neighborhood and they're gonna have a boil order or something, yeah, it definitely is helpful. Yep, I like that. All right, so how do you balance traditional media with social media in your job?
So it's funny. Recently, our traditional media has been going, a few stations have been going to social media for all the cities, all the counties. I notice it because I noticed they started running things from our social media platform that I wouldn't send them a press release on. I wouldn't even send them an email, just a road closure for some construction or a repipe or something like that. But I've noticed they've been picking up stories off our social media. So I've been really mindful about that lately. Okay, I posted something on our fire department page. Maybe the media would like this. So I'm going to share it to my city page and hope that they pick it up. I do send stuff to the media a lot. I send out a lot of press releases, even if it's for little things. I'll send them an email saying, hey, you guys might like this. Here's a picture from such and such event. And I know it's not going to be a lead story. It's not going to even be in the second block, but it may be a little VO that they're going to run. It's 10 seconds that they have. It's a free 10 seconds that they get to use with a video or a picture that I'm providing for them. And it works out. It works out very well.
Makes
I
their life
actually
easier, right?
Yeah, it makes everybody's life easier. And it also, again, goes back to the good publicity, the good stories. And I have a really amazing example of this. So, a couple of years ago, my public works stormwater expert sent me a picture or sent me a video, excuse me. They sent a robot down into one of our storm drains because they go and they look for cracks and things that may be happening in the storm drains that are causing the road to be damaged. And they found an alligator in there. It was a 5-foot alligator. It was very cool. And they started to follow it. The alligator started waddling away and it would stop and look back and then keep waddling and keep waddling. And it was just the best video. She's like, here's just a really fun video for you. And I'm like, social media. And at first, when I watched it, I saw these two little eyes, and I'm like, "Why is she sending me video of a frog?" And as it got closer, you could see the alligator. Well, I'm like, "Oh my gosh, this would be so cool. I know our stations would love this video." So
Yeah.
I made a clip. I threw it on YouTube, and I just sent it to the media saying, "Hey, we got this little alligator in our storm drain." It went so viral. 68,000 views on
Wow.
YouTube. I'm lucky to get like 100 or 200 views on YouTube for any given thing. I had the New York Post reaching out. I had it run in Mexico and India. I mean, all over the world, they ran this video. And the more I saw it running, the worse the headline got. Like, huge alligator found in a storm drain. It was like 5 foot long, and they're like, alligators in the sewers is real. It was so fun. So
Boy,
recognizing little things like that I know the media would absolutely love is crucial to getting those kind of stories and that kind of good publicity out because that outweighs the bad stuff.
absolutely. What
Yeah.
advice would you give to a new PIO who's entering the field?
I have a lot of advice. Do you have time? So learn TV, newspaper, magazines. Never discard magazines, your local magazines, because they could be a definite part of your messaging. Never and learn those cycles. When does that newspaper publish? When does that magazine come out? What are their deadlines for me to submit articles? What are the news cycles? Mornings, afternoons, evenings, what stories air at one time. 11 o'clock is always going to be hard news. Hands down. It will always be a hard news story. Take advantage of those magazines and pitch stories to them, because glossy magazines can do a beautiful, big readable story about something. We just had a local magazine that came to us. They're brand new and they wanted to do a big spread about our public safety, giving thanks for Thanksgiving. So that's their Thanksgiving November article. And it just happened. We were having a firefighter graduation or pinning. And we had a firefighter pinning, and they came out, and the guys were all dressed up, and they have police there, and they got the photos. So it was really, I took advantage of it, and everybody's happy. And just know when reporters are doing hard stories about your city or maybe a client of yours, don't take it personally. They're just doing their jobs. We're doing our jobs. They're doing their jobs. They don't hate you. They're just doing their jobs. Learn to craft positive messages over and over and over again, and take advantage of uh, local organizations like FPRA, Florida Professional Organizations, PRSA, even if you have a state or a county organization of professional PR people, take advantage of it. Join these groups. You'll always learn something. Go to
Absolutely.
communicators groups, go to conferences. You will learn a lot at conferences. People always have stories to tell, don't they? And then I always say, learn skills outside of your scope. I'm also a document remediation specialist and ADA remediation specialist. It was not by choice. I was kind of thrown into it. And then I just really started enjoying doing it. So I know how to remediate documents online so that you don't get dinged with a lawsuit. Learn photography, videography, go to fire events where you can learn fire life safety education, where you can become a subject matter expert on these kind of things. So
Nice.
learn, and if you're in a city, learn about public works. Public works is fascinating. I never knew how fascinating it could be. You can always there's always something to learn.
So you're also a certified yoga instructor, right?
I am, yes.
How has that influenced how you manage stress or lead under pressure?
So it gives me the ability to take a second and breathe and think. Don't just dive in head first. Don't dive in with your emotions. Scale it back, detach from a situation. If you're feeling maybe personally attacked because, this is the wrong message that I want to send out to the world, you got to just detach from it and be able to breathe. And I teach a few times a week, and I also realize the importance of taking care of the body and doing exercises, and even if it's just going for a walk, just kind of take a second, take a step back. Like a project I was working on today, I've just had to take a second and say, okay, put this away. I can come back to it. It's fine. Take a breath.
Nice. Most underrated skill for a PIO?
Most overrated skill?
No, underrated.
Oh, underrated. I'm sorry. So most underrated skill for a PIO would probably be listening, because a lot of people think PIOs are, all about talking and talking and talking on camera, just like I'm doing now. I think our listening skills are underrated, and we should be invited to meetings, and we should be invited to be a part of the process that higher management wants to create. So we should be sitting at that table as well. We should have a chair at that table.
One word to describe your communication style.
I asked my bosses this, and they said enthusiastic, hands down, both of them, enthusiastic.
Awesome. Go to phrase when the pressure's on.
Just breathe. Just breathe.
Is there a question I should have asked? And if so, how would you have answered it?
So I thought about this, and what would be my favorite department that I work with as a city. If you're a one man band like I am, you work with every single department. I mean, I work with the city manager, police, fire, human resources, finance. I work with everybody. And I can honestly say, and this is not being diplomatic, that I enjoy working with every single department, because I've noticed everybody has creative people in their department. So it's really great that a creative person can feed off another creative person, and we come up with all these great ideas and videos, and it's a lot of fun, and it keeps my ADD in check. So there you go.
Awesome. All right, let's go to some rapid fire questions. Ready?
Let's go. Let's do it.
Phone call, voice memo, or FaceTime? What's your go to for staying connected?
Got email. But if I can't say email, then I'm going to say phone.
Streaming binge or weekend read? What's your ideal?
Dreaming binge. Any day I will sit there and watch a 6-part murder mystery series. I watch it all.
Morning ritual, sunrise workout, quiet coffee, or news scroll?
So I do a little bit of both. 2 cups of coffee. I'll turn on the news. I'll go on social media. And then before I leave, I have to play with my cat, because that's when he gets all wound up. So I might be a few minutes late coming into work because of that.
What's your I've earned this indulgence after a tough week?
Massage or getting my face microneedled.
All right. If you could adopt any animal, real or mythical, what would it be?
Call me a Tigerian. I would adopt a dragon.
Nice. What's one
Thanks.
song that always gets you moving no matter what?
You are gonna laugh when I tell you this. So children of the 80s will know Mexican radio, Wall of Voodoo's Mexican radio.
Oh my God, yes, I know that song. Yes.
I sing
Yep.
it. You turn it on, I'll turn my volume up in my car and I'll sing it as loud as I can.
Teleportation or time travel, which power would you pick and why?
Teleportation, because I am impatient when it comes to getting places. Driving, flying, just get me there. Teleport me.
If you could master one skill overnight, what would it be?
Stillness,
Play
staying
it
still.
safe. Okay, play it safe or roll the dice. What's your instinct in a crisis?
Play it safe.
If you had 48 hours, no responsibilities, where would you go?
New Orleans, baby.
What's your comfort zone activity, a thing that resets your brain?
So I also drive a race car. I drift it, like Tokyo Drift.
Okay.
People say, what's
Yeah, yeah,
drifting?
yeah.
That's my reset right there. When I can get out
Wow.
on the track, that's cathartic. I erase everything in my brain.
Okay. I did not expect that.
Yeah.
What historical figure, if you could, we want to shadow for a day and not just meet, who would it be?
So it would be Lao Tzu, who is a Chinese philosopher and basically the creator of Taoism.
Okay. All right. All right. Final thoughts. What key points would you like our listeners to take from today's interview?
Creativity is key. Making a graphic, coming up with a campaign. Ask advice. If you don't know what you should do with a certain situation, reach out to your peers. We are always willing to help each other no matter what. We're just a text away, a phone call away. Never be afraid to ask for help. And remember that you're only human. We can only be as good as the information that we get. So just remember that, ask questions and listen to your stakeholders. Pay attention to what they're saying.
Right. Right. As we wrap this up, is there a piece of wisdom or a motto that you live by?
Take care of yourself by doing things, hobbies, projects with your family. Because if we're not taking care of ourselves, we're going to walk in frazzled and stressed. And take the time to take care of yourself. There's a time and a place where we are on call 24/7 and we are sleeping here and hurricanes and we've got to be on it. But when that time fades, take care of yourself.
Right. How can people best reach out if they want to connect or follow up on anything they heard today?
You can email me, lmcdonald@cityofoviedo.net.
And I will add that into the show notes. Thank you very
Awesome.
much for being on the show, Lisa.
Thank you so much for having me. I really appreciate it. This was a lot of fun.
Yeah, it was. Thank you.